I wanted to talk about tonight the importance of sacred sites here in Algonquin territory and all across Turtle Island. So I have a little slide here too as well. And first of all, I say welcome to Turtle Island. For us as Anishinaabeg, we'd always thought North America's Turtle Island. And I've taken this off of Facebook. But what it says is, how did our ancestors know that North America is shaped like Turtle Island? Because the turtle is very significant to us as Anishinaabeg. I always say too as well, Ottawa was very significant for us as Anishinaabeg. When I say in the beginning, I say, Wagush, Nendodem, Ashejonim Kipanesi. My clan is Wagush on my mother's side, Onimki Panesi on my father's side. And our clan system was based on the watersheds, because for us as Algonquin, we're known for the birch bark canoe. You'll see that in the museum here. And so the clan system based on the watershed, you have the Gatineau River coming from the north. We'd call that Tanagatinsipi. And you have the Ottawa River coming from the west to the east. We say Kichisipi. You see that in downtown Ottawa. It's Kichisipi. It's Kichisipi, big river. And the Rideau River, which is a funny little river, I say, it's a north-flowing river coming from the south. So we have rivers coming from the four directions. So the significance of Ottawa is that we'd meet here with coming by canoe. And incidentally, I did a project on climate change, and when I did a public speaking, I bring my canoe, and I said, we traveled carbon-free. Maybe we need to do that as an Indigenous city again. So here we are. We have the Chaudière Islands, which was significantly also with Victoria Island, because it was a meeting place. We'd meet here in the summer, because in the winter we'd go off to the hunting grounds, and we'd come together like we're doing today and talk about what's going on the territory. For us as Algonquin, we're known as Omamaninawak, the nomads, because we had vast territories. Why? Because our understanding is if you stayed in one place, you start to deplete the resources. You start to dirty the water. And then you moved with the animals, the medicines. So the concept of a city for us was a little bit different but it's not really, because look at how many people commute today. So it's just a different concept. So, but again, going back to, we considered the Chaudière Islands as sacred, specifically Victoria Island. It's a place to come together to also do ceremony. And today you hear the controversy today with the development of the Chaudière, which has become so complex. But for us, we were also one of the first in terms of, for Samuel de Champlain, to bring him up the river here. And when he first saw the Chaudière Falls, he said you can hear them by 3 knots away, which is like 3 miles. That's how powerful they were. And they've changed too as well, and by the damming of the river. I also brought a picture. This is our traditional dress. But really quickly, I also brought a picture of another sacred site, which is Bon Echo. And again too as well, what happens is right there, you'll see the turtles in the rocks here. This is by Calidar, and the significance of that is also that it has the petroglyphs on the rock paintings, and you can visit them in the summer. They're thousands of years old. So again, but for us, I've done ceremony with our elders there, and one of the things, the concern was also that there's like rock climbing. They've been not well taken care of. And I remember going there with the elders, and they said, you know, one of his specific messages, we've welcomed all the newcomers to our lands here, and they've built places of worship. And our places of worship, what they said is, all Mother Earth is sacred, but there are certain places that are of significance. They are also our places of worship, but they haven't been honored. So again, I was thinking that my talk tonight is what is reconciliation to, as well as how do we honor these sacred sites. Now that, for example, going back to the Chaudière, they've become also prime real estate. So what's reconciliation? And now, when I'm talking about the Indigenous city, this is a recent structure that was by the Portage Bridge. And again, it's called a gathering. You'll see the center. It was done by Manuel Baez, who's a professor at Carleton University. And he had the center which represents Turtle Island. And he etched the rings of a tree in the middle. And you can't see it on the picture. And it represents time. And he placed the benches in the 4 directions, representing the newcomers to our land and our growth outwards. And the other part is also the dream catcher. And the significance of the dream catcher is that it's a reminder that we're all interconnected, and what we do to the earth, we do to ourselves. So in the end, now from an Indigenous city, from an Algonquin perspective, also this past summer, the 150, we saw our creation story being highlighted as part of the mosaic at Jacques Cartier Park. So again, too, as well, that exceeded the it exceeded visitors beyond their projections. So again, like Indigenous city, I think in summary, what I think is also, I think we still have a journey to go together. And I think it's interesting, but also too as well, it requires the opening of our minds and our hearts, and as we grow together. So on that note, I say miigwech.